RBGNextGen in the building.
Yep. RBGNextGen.
The one and only. That's a fact, man. Thank you for taking time out today to, sit down with us, spread your brand and stuff like that. So, one of the first things is I saw your 52-week takeover. I got to like 15 songs in there. I really like it so far. So, what inspired you to do that 52-week takeover before we start getting into it?
The 52-week takeover was an attempt to basically release a song every Friday last year. And one, it was a challenge on creativity. Can I do it? Am I able to create a song and put a little visual to it? And can I release that every Friday? And so it was a good challenge. Also a challenge on just different things. If you look at I have a post up there to really show people what we did, which was I actually made 4 albums out of those 52 songs. So you start January, January to December. I have an aggressive sounding album. I have a chill sounding album. I have a dreamy sounding album, and then I got a victorious sounding album. And it's just a way to kind of play on getting into learning different things, different production styles, and just challenging ourselves. So, once you get a studio at home, once you got a professional setup at home where, I got the software, Pro Tools, got the mic, know how to mix and master myself. So at this point, it's like, why not? And it was fun. If you've heard of the artist Russ, he was
I'm familiar with him.
Yeah, Russ, he's the one that got big off of that method. He released a song every week, and he did it for 2 years, and until everything in his catalog it blew up, and he's one pretty good successful model for independent artists. So, of course back then it was a little different. He was using SoundCloud. That's when SoundCloud was kind of big. Social media, Spotify, and all that wasn't really big yet. I don't even think it was around. But when he was doing it on Spotify, on SoundCloud, it worked. So but it's a little different in 2024, 2023. So, but it was a good creative way of going about it.
Okay,
That's dope. So, what's some other artists that inspires you to start working on your craft as far as music? I know Russ is one of them, of course.
But before you answer that question, let the people know who is RBGNextGen. Who, what inspired your name? How did you come up with it? What was the steps? Did you have a name before this name, or you picked this name and you was like, this is the one I'm running?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm part of a long legacy of a group called the RBG, Righteous Black Guerrillas. Now, we go into the history of RBG, not only Righteous Black Guerrillas, Real Black Guys, Red, Black, and Green, and that was started, the rap group that was started out here in Oakland. And from there, if you've heard of Ascari X, if you've heard of any of that kind of music, my father is the actual originator of all of that, of art. So from there, I'm the descendant of that. And that's why I come with RBGNextGen. And I'm just the next generation of RBG. When you listen to the RBG, you're hearing a lot of the music that really started consciousness, started Black consciousness out here on the West. Before you hear about any conscious Black artists coming with a more hood edge, that was RBG first, and that's where I come from. And I'm more so on the spiritual side of it, the particular side that has grown from the streets, you know what I mean? So everything that they've learned that gets you to a particular spiritual point, I represent the spiritual side.
That's dope. I also see that you're a 3D artist as well, and I see that
Yes, sir.
you add that to like different your shows and stuff. I was taking a look as you
Yeah.
was rapping. You had like a couple sets running in the background, which I think that's pretty dope. You know.
Even with the music videos I watch, I see that you always have like a somewhat 3D visual in the background to go with exactly what your lyrics was talking about for the song.
Yeah.
So how did you get into that part?
Man, we were blessed to go to the Art Institute of San Francisco,
Mm.
um, high school, and I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Media Arts and Animation. So in the temple that I grew up in, you know, we were right after high school. Just as soon as we graduated, we already knew what we wanted to do. You know, we were already pretty clear on where we wanted to go. You know, I would even say before high school, we knew that, you know, I knew I wanted to be an artist. I knew that there were a lot of stories about just black people, just black animations that I wanted to see. Of course, when you hear a lot of the black cartoons, you see a lot of the black cartoons out
Yeah,
there. You know, the more successful ones you may see is like Static Shock. You know what I
like
mean?
Boondocks.
Boondocks, you know, Black Panther, you know, but it be pretty much limited to that, you know. And one thing that you kind of find yourself dealing with is, you know, I when I was young, I thought I was the only person into Dragon Ball Z. I thought I was the only person that was into all of that anime stuff, and you know, it's pretty interesting to have grown to this age and just see how much of a cultural phenomenon that animation has had on Black people specifically, you know, and it just how much we wanted to be part of that kind of animated community, you know. So, you know, and it's pretty difficult, you know, because I know that there are so many Black artists out there that have ideas, got comics with great concepts, great ideas, but they don't have an opportunity to get it out there due to gatekeepers, due to money, you know, and finding themselves kind of stuck where, you know, I'm not going to get this animation done in a viable time in order to keep doing seasons and make money off of it, you know. So, you know, the blessing that I received was I was able to go to school. I was able to, you know, get the knowledge. And from there, we was able to learn what they do, you know, and 3D art. 3D art is a big thing. I've looked at movies like Final Fantasy, you know what
That's
I
my
mean? And
favorite game.
yeah, you know, and me when I used to play those games, I would be stuck on the cinematics,
Right.
you know, like the cut.
Yep.
So I would play just so I could see the cutscene,
Hmm.
you know, and
Right.
it got to a point where it's just like I would keep playing other ones just so I could see the cutscene. And then when I learned that they do movies, then I was blown away. I want to see the movie,
Right.
you know, and you of course when you go even further than that, um, it's just like, man, if we can have Black characters that's like that,
Yeah.
you know, with amazing stories like that. A lot of those particular companies, they got a culture
Yeah.
behind. You know, that's Japan. And if you look at Japan, Japan has a whole culture, and those stories originate from deep cultural traditions. And it's like Black people got the same
Yeah.
thing. You know, we got the same thing, and we can bring it into that modern kind of way that they're doing today. You know, and so that's why we went to school and learned learned quite a lot. You know, and it's still on the journey of creating animations. That's what Buku is here for. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, Buku is Buku Black Unity Conference Universal is one of our attempts at unifying all of that, you know. And at some point, of course, I'd love to introduce y'all to Buku. I think Hess
Yeah. Has to
may have
tell
introduced
us.
y'all to Buku.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
We got a little bit of insight.
oh, what you say?
I said we got a little bit of insight from Heston telling us about
Yeah.
the Buku family.
Black Unity Conference University. So, we trying to connect with all Black artists, all Black, musicians, all Black, just anything, and merge it all. Let everybody see that we are here. But as a 3D artist, that's one of the things that, we've been giving to contribute to our people. And that's why I went to school. And when I got out, I had the blessing of being a part of a temple that used my skills, because a lot of the companies out there, it's a very competitive field.
Facts.
What they say is you're dealing with artists. Like, just imagine you got different artists that worked for Pixar and did Finding Nemo. And these artists will get off of Finding Nemo, and me as an entry artist, I'm up against him for the next job. And it's like, that's, and then a lot of companies will sit there and tell you, hey, we need 10 years of experience in this in order to hire you, so you'll deal with a lot of that in the art community, and it's definitely one of those very, very competitive fields. But one thing that we love about the Black community and what we see now is just more independence, and technology is getting so fast that, man, you can do it by yourself. These companies are starting to cut down on employees, and it's getting to a point where we don't need them in order to get something. So that's what we've been, kind of grabbing hold.
So with your music, I get a like a real high frequency feel when I listen to your music. And with the agenda being pushed today, it's a lot of the low frequency stuff. So what's some of the challenges that you face when trying to market and brand your music to people?
You know what? When it comes to listening, like, there's so many artists. I do want to answer that question that you had asked too. There's so many artists that's out there that you find eventually they come to contact. Some of the most amazing lyricists that I've heard all the time. Even Eminem just dropped the album. You know what I mean? And even him, they all find themselves, going in some kind of conscious direction.
Yeah.
So, this, the thing that has always been a challenge is, of course, you have a particular amount of people that would appeal to. You start looking at, okay, where are they going to play this kind of music? And you start seeing the challenges that you really have, where before, a lot of conscious artists, they would have had a difficulty and somewhat of a resentment against some of the other artists, some of the more business artists, where, it'd be this thing of, all they songs getting played on the club, it's all on Billboard, it's all on Forbes, it's all on these lists. And then when it comes to us conscious artists, it's always underground. Yeah. And you start seeing, okay, these people are targeting clubs. You're making club songs, and that was a big thing for a while. These people are making radio songs. These people are making these songs. And with the advent of the internet, that particular field exploded to the point where now conscious artists got more of an audience. Yeah. And now that we have more of an audience, where there's some people that just want to throw something on in the background, and just want higher frequency music, or there's some people that playlist their own music. You have a better opportunity now than you did then. Yeah, to be recognized. As a lyricist, for any lyricist, it's always irritating to see people that don't put the effort in. You know what I mean? And these be the people that tend to get all of the accolades and all of that. But when I see what we can do today with technology, it makes people pay attention. I understand today you can't just put out music anymore. It's not just going to be music that's going to reach.
That's what it's about.
You have to do something else with it. So two of the things that we have to continue if I want you to see these lyrics. I want you to see the work that goes into making these lyrics. And then I want you to see some imagery with it, some kind of different kind of imagery with it. And maybe that, hitting two senses, the hearing and the sight, maybe that can help, further along, make people pay attention a little bit better. And then later, if you like it, you might put it in the car. You might put it on somewhere else. But I'm learning, as we've learned, is you got to get to that entryway.
Right.
It's just the entryway. As soon as you get to the entryway, then you can start actually hitting them on the other aspect. You can actually make fans in another way. And that's the hardest thing for a lot of us independent artists, the entryway. So that's kind of the that's kind of the thing that we've been dealing with. And it's kind of like, for me, I've been doing music for years, but to people that's around, I'm always going to be considered a new artist.
Right.
So it's very interesting. A very interesting dichotomy. But that's what we deal with.
So now, like, what's some of the things you plan on doing next, far as with your music? Any, like, far as new albums or singles, or even like going on the road and doing any shows?
Yeah, man. We have been looking into, there's a couple of things that we're striving to do, specifically with Buku, where we're taking advantage of these, if you've seen a lot of the metaverse artists that are out there, there's some artists that have really grabbed hold to doing a lot of those virtual concerts, where you have a 3D character that can perform at Fortnite. You know what I mean? He can perform at all of the big gaming, conventions. But not only that, when you think of the Tupac hologram, hologram technology, and performing where the holograms can be there, helping to tell the story.
True.
You got a lot of rock bands that have taken advantage of that, and then, you got a couple of people, something that we've been loving to see is the particular visual album, where every song has a video. So that's where we're aiming for, We're aiming for, we got 3D animation. We know how to animate in 3D. And because we're a musician, we want to make a 3D animated visual album, and see where this particular visual album can take us. It can be put on Netflix. It can be put on, these different visual platforms, but it's all songs. And then once you go out to perform, then take advantage of all of the, visual technology that plays along with the performance. So that's something that we're aiming for, and all it takes is just completing a lot of this 3D work that we're doing, and then, starting to integrate it, with the live performance.
That sounds pretty dope. Now, what's some things that you could tell to like a newer artist, far as that's trying to get started, and and they'll have no blueprint at all? Like, what would you tell them, the first day, like after they get out the booth?
It's one, repetition. That was something that we liked, that you can hear Lil Wayne say, repetition. You just keep going, you keep making songs, you keep trying things, you find yourself, and as you continue to do this work to find yourself, just find yourself musically. I was blessed in the temple to over those years, because I was making songs every week, and I wasn't putting them out yet, but because I was so excited about making songs, throughout those years, I was able to find myself musically. So you really want to, find yourself, find who you are, find what it is what are the type of beats that you like, what is the writing style that you like. You got to try these different things. And then, of course, as you're doing it, you try different productions. Sometimes when we as new artists, we will come in and there's different artists that we're inspired by that, of course, you're going to sound like the artist that you're inspired by, you know, and, that's not a problem in the beginning. But of course, you don't want to become a carbon copy. You don't want to be a carbon copy of an artist that's already out there. And in all actuality, in reality, all of us artists are just a mix of many different artists that we listen to. So you may hear a little bit of Lupe Fiasco in some of the places. You may hear a little bit of Nas. You may hear a little bit of this or that. But you will come to find your own mix. From the many different artists that you've listened to, and then listen to other music. Listen to other artists. One thing that we were given that always helped me was, let me play my song right after a professional artist and let me see how I fare up. Do I sound good after them? So if I put on a track of an artist that's really impressive and I put my song on after him, do I still sound impressive? Over the years, for a while you can, I've heard so many artists say this, like, man, there was times I heard certain artists that I got discouraged. Like, why am I rapping? Like there has been artists. I've seen Eminem say the same thing. Like he said he heard Tretch for the first time and he just like was rethinking whether or not he wanted to rap. So there's many artists that go through that, where you kind of like, okay, there's some people that are amazing out here, and it's good because you see a standard that you want to meet, and then once you can meet that particular thing where I can say, okay, I can hold my own, put me on the track with any of them, and I'm sure I can hold my own now. I'm confident enough in myself now that it don't matter what industry are they better be careful. You know what I mean?
Right.
Any one of us artists, and that's what you learn later, because people get so caught up in the competition of who's the best. Really, a lot of the highest artists knows that there is no best. You can get bested any day. You know what I mean? M has got bested on some tracks. There's tracks that Busta Rhymes got bested on his track. You, if anything, stay sharp, and that's the competitive side of artists. Like, you better be careful because I'm about to rip my verse.
Right.
So you better not come behind me lazy because you're not going to sound too impressive, So a lot of those things kind of just come with repetition, staying aware of yourself, not getting delusional, like I'm just the best thing out. It's good to have the confidence, but at the same time, it's always good to be balanced with both of them. So I'd say, for new artists, keep that balance.
True. So to speak about all the artists and stuff, what's some artists that you see yourself potentially working with in the future?
You know what, man? Right now with the Buku family, I've been looking to just collaborate with a lot more Oakland artists. That's what's been beautiful. Buku has just been kind of growing in that area of just Oakland's independence, Oakland, California, and finding a lot of our great artists underground that have something uplifting to say about our people. So I know number one is continuing to work with people like Black Nova. I think y'all had interviewed Black Nova, Black Nova, Ricardo and KE. A bunch of other artists, Yero and his wife, Pink the Diamond. I think there's an artist that you're about to. Interview. Her name is Sister Brandy. She got some work that we're trying to collaborate with artists like that. Now if I was to say industry. If I was to go into the industry, artists that I really like, just like JID, Lupe, that's if, you know, that's if we even get there. I'm not gonna worry myself too much about whether or not we get there, because
Sure.
the way that the industry is right now, you know, it's really no guarantee, and that's just not gonna get caught up on it. So
That's dope.
That's a fact. So, how do you feel about AI and music and art? You know, because I'm also an artist. I do abstract art as well, and one of the
okay.
things that I'm always thinking of is different ways to trademark my artwork. You know, so it
Yeah.
don't get stolen in the AI
Hmm.
algorithm when someone goes to generate an art piece or something.
Yeah. Is that your art piece back there?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Okay, I see. I see. Yeah, that's one thing I love about abstract art. You know, you just sit there and stare. You just kind of figure out, okay, what is the message in this? You know, that's the thing that they always say about abstract art. Like it kind of let your imagination roam. You know, and as you stand in front and kind of imagine it's there. You know, but yeah, when it comes to AI, in the music field and also in the art field, you know, in the art field, you know, we kind of went the traditional route, you know, pencil, color pencil, uh, acrylic, oil,
Yeah.
watercolor, you know, all the way up into digital art. And then once you get into digital art, and then that's what kind of led me into 3D art. So, you know, we kind of played with all of the different mediums. And um, AI is just replicating. AI is just looking at your work and is replicating the style that you are creating. And at this particular point, it's just learning how to adjust. You know, I know that in the art field, especially for people in our field, when it comes to um, just artwork
Yeah.
that you art pieces that you would want, it what we can see is going to happen is physical art is going to grow in value. You know, I believe that something tangible that a person can touch, like they can
Yeah.
touch the brush strokes and they can touch the artwork that you have, seem like that's going to grow in value because it's very rare. It's going to become more rare.
Yeah.
People are going to see, you know, that's not easy to do,
Especially
you
with
know,
the
because,
rise of digital artists. Not to take away from digital artists, because
yeah,
it is complex in certain ways, but it is some people who just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna just do the digital art because it's easier," not because they necessarily have a passion to do the
yeah.
digital art.
Mhm. Yeah, and with that particular type of way of looking at things, what ends up happening is it's the same with music. It's just art gets devalued if everyone feels like they
Oversaturated.
can do it. You know, it's just like with rap. It's just like if people keep thinking that they can just all rap, you know what I mean? Then yes, you're gonna get a bunch of mediocre songs, and if the mediocre songs get, you know, the push and it gets famous out there, then of course now what are you dealing with? You're dealing with an industry full of mediocre music. You know what I mean? So um, that's why we are
Yeah,
lyricists. You know what I mean? As a lyricist, so I want you to know this is not easy to do.
yeah,
Facts.
You're not going to be able to listen to this verse and think that you could just write this
true.
verse the same way that I wrote.
Yeah.
But it's the same with artwork. You know, it's the same with artwork. You know, you learn that when it comes to the different mediums, it's the same principle. You know, you're starting off with an idea, and all you're really taking is a different approach.
Facts.
You know, watercolor is a different approach. Acrylic is a different approach, but you're still trying to achieve the same
True.
thing. I'm still trying to achieve light. I'm still trying to achieve some kind of darkness. I want to show some kind of gradation. I want to show volume. I want to show these things in order to properly show my picture. You know, and then once you know that principle, you can apply that to spray paint. You can apply that to basically anything. You can make anything look shiny, or you can make anything look rough. And then you take that to 3D art, or if you take that to digital art, and you start to see it's all the same. So with AI, it's learning how what can AI help you with right now, you know, and that's the thing that we're getting a lot further into. Like, you know, me and my family, the whole Buku family at this point has been getting into stable diffusion, you know, and stable diffusion, you know, give you all of those abilities to kind of make different pictures that that you can describe. And that's cool for maybe, let's say, if I have some lyrics and I'm like, I don't feel like drawing, no picture for this lyric. So I might use AI for that. I got so many songs that's concept based,
Yeah.
and concept may be about, let's say, people that are rich and famous. And I didn't go and film at a mansion. I didn't necessarily go in, I didn't do all those things. So maybe AI can fill in the picture and the imagery for those lyrics. And I can see, that, or if you're talking about, in the education field and you're talking textbooks, you know what I mean? And if you got some textbooks where you got some knowledge there and you're like, this is just so that they can have an idea of what's being talked about here in this particular section of the book. So I'm going to get an AI picture of what did we look like before, our people had came down into the jungles. What did black look like before that? And sometimes if you feed the right information to the AI, you can get some pretty good imagery of a guess of what it may have looked like because they don't have no pictures. They tend to hide that. They tend to hide, hey, they want black people to always think, hey, y'all were just wild in Africa. You got bones all up in your nose. It always was intense. None of y'all had any structure. There was nothing amazing about y'all.
Word.
And then, of course, you go to Egypt and all that, and then you can show them, hey, look at all these pyramids. Look at all these structures still standing today that you all cannot repeat. You cannot do the same thing that we did back then. You know what I mean? Obviously, there was an intelligence back then that you still can't necessarily replicate.
Yeah.
So with that particular type of intelligence, you on purpose hide what we were like back then. If you hear about Alexander the Great went into the pyramids and he repainted some of the hieroglyphs. You know what I mean? And you just start to find out, like, so you mean to tell me this, you look at those hieroglyphs, clearly black people, but you're repainting it white. You know what I mean? And then they show Alexander the Great, like, no, he was a great student of Egypt. And he just wanted to know. And no, it was a whole bunch of supplanting going on. And then because of all that supplanting, you got so many people that just don't know how great we were, because they have no pictures, they have no evidence. So sometimes in order to inspire the minds of the young black folks, or the young children, you got to show them some imagery, and AI kind of actually accelerates that because you got so many black artists like yourself that can produce that artwork. But we don't have all the time in the world.
Right.
We still got so many things that we got to do. So how am I alone going to make all the artwork for all the black textbooks to show to all of the black children? So this gives us opportunity to use it for our advantage to inspire the young folks. And I think that's what's good for AI. Now, other than that, I don't think that AI can replace authenticity. I think people are going to always know that's AI.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what I mean? I think that it's just something about our brain. It's kind of like when you see 3D animation. It's just like, I can tell that's 3D. Even though that looks extremely real, that's 3D.
Yeah.
I can tell. You know what I mean? And I don't think that computers are going to be completely able to fool us. Now, they got movies out there. They do have some films out there that you don't know is using 3D. Movies that you wouldn't even expect. Like that whole background there is 3D. And sometimes it'd be like, well, if I'm not seeing some visual effects, if I'm not seeing nothing blow up, if I'm not seeing something transform or something like that, then what do you mean that's not 3D? But sometimes you got some of these companies that's like, look, I wasn't able to go to Europe and be able to film what that European piece looked like back then. So I had to make it in 3D. And when you see this film, yes, it looks like he's really in that European time in the 1800s or something like that. And it sometimes is shocking, but no matter what, I don't think you can replace authenticity.
True.
That's a fact.
So, with the highly educated brother, what would be like the next album or next song that you be putting out to let the people know?
You know what? We got one particular project that we've been working on. I mean, I'm just so many projects, man. It's ridiculous. But we got one that's gonna be 3D animated. You know, that's gonna kind of showing an example of what we're going for with uh, taking a story, taking a 3D story, and just animating the whole project. For people to see. There's a couple of songs that we're gonna do. I would say at least within the next month, prayerfully. We got a couple of Buku songs. Buku has something called Buku Musical One, and that's a collaboration of all of the Buku artists that we've come across, and we are trying to make a mixtape. And that particular mixtape, what we're trying to do is we're trying to use that as a musical handshake, Black organization. So if I go to a Black organization that's doing something for our people, and they got artists over there, then we want them to join in on our mixtape. Hey, put some verses on our mixtape so that we can use this to further promote, the upliftment of our people.
Right.
And our main thing is independence. Because of course what artists are dealing with right now is Spotify is such a scam.
Oh yeah,
Basically, all companies are such a scam at this particular point.
True.
Where you're like getting paid, 0.5% of a penny. I mean, Snoop Dogg talked about it. Like, man, I got 2 billion streams on my song, and I only got paid $400,000. That is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And of course, the music, you try to look at it from both sides. That's the thing that a lot of us got to continue to keep in mind. You look at it from both sides. People are pirating music. You know what I mean? It's not the same.
Yeah.
Before you could sell CDs, and you got labels that would buy up a stock of CDs, and you were getting millions of albums sold through the CDs. But ever since the internet came out, and I don't know if y'all remember LimeWire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the one.
So I got all the music.
When LimeWire came out, it was just like, oh, we just got a big library of everybody's album right here, and I can just get it for free.
Yeah.
So everybody was using LimeWire, and it got to a point where everybody music getting fired.
Word.
So now labels are looking at, okay, how are we gonna make money? So now they're looking at how they can cut into that. Let's stop them from pirating all the music. So now let's get into the tech, But then, when you get into the tech companies, you just start to see these labels are not necessarily for us. You're trying to just make money. It's not really about the artist. So when it comes to what we're dealing with now, man, it's like we want our own platform.
Yes.
We want our own streaming platform. And we want to be able to be paid properly. I think Jay-Z tried. When you hear about Jay-Z and Tidal. And
Yeah.
I think he bought the company. I don't know if he bought the whole company, but he may have bought into the company, and I think he was trying to provide a platform for Black artists to be able to be paid properly. But obviously, over time, it just seems like, something must have happened that made him be like, I'm selling my shit. I'm selling that, no longer part of Tidal, And so what happened? What difficulties did Jay-Z go through that made it to where he couldn't continue to contribute? So this is the thing that we're dealing with. We're trying to start our own. We've been looking into musical apps. How can we start our own musical streaming app? So Spotify started one. We can start our own.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can start your own streaming app. You can start your own music streaming website. And how are we going to be able to pay artists properly and not get the music stolen? There's a whole balance that we have to come to, and that's something that I'm more interested in now. We're more interested in how are we going to do that? Get up off of Spotify and all it is. All of those songs that we did on the 52-week takeover, all of that stuff was on the streaming platform, but they had an article on about Spotify where they were just talking about how none of the independent artists benefit. All of that money that these artists pay through DistroKid and through all of these different ways to at least get their stuff on Spotify. That money that Spotify is allotted to be able to pay the artists out, most of that money is going to all of the, established apps.
Exactly.
I mean? So you're paying in to pay the label artists. So I'll be paying, what, $46, $45 a year, $2 for my song to be shown on a Shazam, or another $2 in order for it to be caught on YouTube and all of that.
Oh my God.
And I'm not getting numbers. I'm getting 17 views. I'm getting 3 views. I'm getting all that. I'm not getting paid by YouTube. But all of these big artists, with all that money that I'm spending to just get myself known, all that money is going to them. You know what I mean? And then even them, they're not getting paid enough. So everybody is dissatisfied. You know what I mean? It's coming to a particular point where, what are you going to do? You need to do something for yourself.
Word.
So how are you going to do it for yourself? You need to try. And that's the thing that we're at now. Like we can do it. We can make our own streaming service. Our own Black streaming service, and do the same thing they did.
Right.
And if we can solve that issue of dealing with pirated music and then paying artists properly for what it is that they do. One of the things that we think of is, number one, if you're an artist and you really want to do something, or you have something about the upliftment of our people, let's first donate those songs. Hey, I got 3 songs that's about, the upliftment of my people. I'm going to donate that to this particular app. I'm going to donate that to the streaming service, and all of the money, that we get from that particular app or streaming service, I want to just know that that money is being used for my community.
True.
You know what I mean? And if you can succeed in that, then we got to start, because it can start that way, and then just imagine that thing get big like Spotify.
That's
Then you can start looking at, okay, now I want to start paying y'all a lot more to continue to put this stuff on the streaming app.
Word.
And then we can have our own. But it all takes that thing of not being afraid, and that's where we want to go. And the last thing too is interactivity with our music. So if you see a lot of the video games that are out there, not just these video games, software that we're getting into, that we've been kind of playing around with is Unreal Engine 5. And that's what created Fortnite. That is what created many of the games that you play on PlayStation 5, Xbox One, all those particular big, and so when you look at the graphics on that, those are those amazing graphics that we see on a lot of those games, Call of Duty, any of those games, and Unreal Engine 5, with that kind of capability, just imagine being able to walk through a particular environment and you can play it out. You know what I mean? Or you can experience the album. Instead of just playing the album, your child can play this, what seems to be a game, but you're playing my album. And you're walking through and you're experiencing different things about my album. And that's
fine.
It's funny you say that, because I wanted to ask if you were into NFTs too. You feel me? Because basically what you said is like, if you do the NFT right, that's basically what it is. Like, you have your whole world, and each person's album will be like a state or a country or whatever. And you experience the album in full time with their own world or something like that.
You know what? I was blessed, I'm blessed to have a family that's, very, that stay up to date on a lot of that, so we looked at the NFTs, and, that's the non-fungible token,
Yeah.
We look at it like a digital antique,
There we go.
Of course, if you were to look at any type of antique, it's almost like a souvenir or something like that, like it continues to grow in value over time,
Yep.
sometimes people got to see the value in what it is that you're bringing. Like, what is it exactly that's so valuable about this digital thing that you're giving? You know, and this of course this kind of goes into how much people will pay for your NFT. Now we my family has gotten into NFT, and there was just a couple of different challenges, with NFTs. Number one is, where are you storing? Where are you
Yeah.
storing? You
Or
know,
what marketplace you gonna use?
yeah, the marketplaces, and it's like the storage for a lot of these servers that hold these NFTs. Is it harming the environment? You know what I mean? And from what it is that we've seen, they haven't figured that part out. You know, it's kind of like, whatever you're doing, if it's harming the environment, it's almost like emissions going into the air from cars.
Nice.
Why people are telling us get electric cars. Motors are going out of style, but not only are motors going out of style, you got chemicals that are going into the air. Those chemicals affect everybody. You know what I mean? Those chemicals can shorten people's lives over time. It's kind of like that thing that you deal with when you see our people that live by refineries. It's just like, our neighborhoods right by a refinery that is releasing all kind of gases in the air. And as soon as it get into us, you know what I mean? We find ourselves having cancer. We find ourselves having all these different ailments, and it's just because of the environment that you're in. So it could be the same when it comes to, where these NFTs are stored. What is it doing to the environment? How do you figure that part out? So that's one particular thing that, we have been striving to be pretty careful about. But the other thing has been um, the scams from the many companies that have done NFTs. Some of the biggest players in the NFT community have all been arrested for fraud and all of that with Bitcoin.
Right.
And, they have been arrested, put in jail for like 20 and 30 years, and it's just like, what, how you just got to know how careful you got to be there. You know what I mean? Because it can become a get rich quick scheme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can start, playing games and start kind of tight roping, and you'll start doing things where it's like, what value are you actually giving people? And I see a couple of companies still playing around with the NFTs. I think artists like ourselves who are still in that, like, NFTs seem like it was great for artists. I think that's how it started.
Is like, but what you said, a lot of people were in it for the get rich quick scheme. They were in it for the passion. They wasn't really artists. They were just in it to buy something and sell it and make money, because they seen people who actually brought it for the value buy it. They don't understand that NFTs is for like extra value. So say if y'all was doing like a Buku family reunion, the NFT would be a ticket. Stuff like that. You feel me?
Yeah. And that's what we look at it for. We look at it for stuff like that. Like if we had a Buku ticket or something like that, and if Buku becomes very popular, Buku becomes a very big successful business, and you still got that NFT, that NFT got value. That NFT is like your little, digital, that's my digital signature on, the work that you had bought when you were there. It's kind of like, when you think of Kendrick's pop out. You know what I mean? Imagine if he did NFTs for that show. And if he did NFTs for that show and he was like, were you there? If you were there and you bought that particular NFT when you were there, then your particular NFT gonna have some value over a couple of years, because everybody wanted to be there. You know what I mean? So you was there and you bought it. You know what I mean? Like that, there's something that you can do with it. You know what I mean? But, I think that for artists, we got a beautiful opportunity if people continue to see the value in the type of art that we do. Sometimes we've done speed arts where, let me show you that I'm gonna show you a speed version of the artwork. Like really, this particular artwork took 23 hours to do. I'm gonna speed it up to a minute. So you could just see there for hours on this particular art piece. And I've seen that become pretty successful. I've seen some people that, once you see that, oh no, that person worked on that for months or years or whatever, then they tend to put a little bit more value on your work, because sometimes I think people look at artwork and think it's instant. And then sometimes, you know how
This piece I've been working on for months. I just started working on it today.
Yeah. Wow, okay. So what, is it gonna keep building? Like you're gonna keep adding to it?
Yeah, the goal is to cover all the white space to it, but it's like every day it's like, well, I'm gonna add to it. You feel me? Because it's not. I'm not gonna just rush it. You feel me? This is a masterpiece.
And that's how we feel. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna rush it. And that's the thing that people deal with AI. It feels like it's instant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Feel like, I can just think of something and I can just make it. No, sometimes, with us as artists, and the thing about artists too is we love the process. It's actually fun to draw. It's fun to know anatomical, anatomy and actually doing it correctly. It's fun to gradate a particular part of a particular picture and make it look real. That's all fun. So don't remove my fun with making it instant. You know what I mean? So sometimes people got to see it, and I think that's one of our ways to show value for the artwork that we do. And then, when it comes to, further, we got a beautiful opportunity to still use NFTs the proper way, but it's still a learning. Still got to learn, because the thing that we deal with too is technology. People just shut off everything. Okay, so now all your money in the NFTs is gone. All your Bitcoins, you know what I mean? All your Coinbase is gone now. Server is down. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
Right. You just make your own internet and do what? No one is accepting it.
Yeah. And then you hear about blackouts. You know what I mean? Like all of these things, it would make you just be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to just, have myself hinged to just a technological dollar. I'm not, I need to know there's more. Of course, when you hear about money, of course, the dollar is the Federal Reserve note. Now it used to have silver and gold that backed the Federal Reserve note. But of course, at this particular point, they can't do that. You can't necessarily back it by all the gold and the silver. And at some point, we were taught by, I'm a Muslim. So as a Muslim, the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he had a very beautiful lecture giving us that gold is going to be the future way of exchange. And universally, gold is used across the country. And I don't think anybody is going to be able to get around that. So it's kind of a balance, because is NFTs, Bitcoin, and all that just a phase? So it's something to kind of look into.
That's a fact. That's with this new age economy,
Yeah.
It seemed like we had a dope interview today. We definitely gonna tap in with more of your work and stuff, and this is just the first of many to come. We definitely want to get tapped in with the whole Buku family, so we might catch a flight out there to Cali, and really tap in with everybody all at once. But it's definitely dope.
Y'all should prayerfully, man. We'll try and send y'all a link. We have a weekly business meeting that we do.
Okay.
So that's just a great opportunity for us all to collaborate, and whatever organizations that you're a part of, whatever you do.
Nice.
Buku is about unifying and unifying. So it's about all of the efforts that y'all already put in, the work that you've been doing for years.
Right.
We want to not only acknowledge that, but we want to be able to merge with it. And one of our biggest things in Buku is no religious gangbang. It doesn't matter what denomination that you come from. It doesn't matter if you're a Hebrew Israelite, if you're a Christian, it doesn't matter where you come from. I'm a Muslim. Right. It don't matter where we come from. We all serve one God. And we've always we've always looked at it that way. And if we could just come together under that,
Yeah.
then, we want to show people that that's possible. When you think of Minister Farrakhan, when he did the Million Man March,
Yeah.
all them people weren't claiming Muslim. You know what I mean? Those were just some black men that understood that this is a good call.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when it comes to Buku, it's the same thing. It's a good call for all of our organizations to come together and for us all to work together. You know what I mean? And Buku, we got all kind of structures. The beautiful thing is with the music is connected to a program. So you got some people in Buku that may speak about gun violence, and that's connected to the freedom, justice, and equality portion of Buku. On my t-shirt, we got the 12 jewels, so freedom, justice, and equality, love, peace, and happiness, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, so you got all of those, and food, clothing, and shelter. So all of these are different programs, and everybody has a song. I really pray y'all get to interview Naru. He has a really good, program like this too, where he does music and is connected to a black organization. You know what I mean? And he's also part of our Buku team. But it's the same thing, if Buku is just all about that, is unifying all of this, merging it into one, so that we can effectively make change. Because sometimes we all be in different places. You know what I mean? It's kind of, you have a body. If you got the body, you just need a proper head. Or the body don't operate right. So that's all.
All right.
Right.
So where can the people find you on all platforms going forward?
Yep, you can find me. You can find RBGNextGen. You could put RBGNextGen anywhere. I got a website. We got a YouTube, got a Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So got all the basic stuff. And I think for me, I usually update my Instagram first. With a lot of the stuff that I'm probably more recently working on. I haven't updated in a while because I'm going through a really big rebrand with this Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5 just, at first it was a game. Now film
You're gonna have the
are in
same name though, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have the same name.
Okay, cool.
Definitely gonna have the same name. So it's RBGNextGen. You'll be able to find me everywhere. And then I'm also part of Buku, just anything Buku, Black Unity Conference, Universal. We have a Buku Musical Oneness Instagram page. We're starting a podcast, and that podcast we're gonna be talking about some of the subjects that we just spoke about today. You know what I mean? And then we're just gonna keep digging into it. We're trying to do something unique, because you got some great podcasts out there, but when you got artists like us who can keep putting imagery to it, you can keep enhancing. If y'all seen 19 Keys, 19 Keys, he has a pretty good platform in his podcast. So we want to add some of our skills to that and continue with that. So that's where you'll be able to find me. RBGNextGen, Buku.
It was fire, bro. Like it was a dope interview.
Yeah, it was fire.
You dropped a few jewels on us, not only the fans, and we appreciate just your energy, and it's been an honor definitely interviewing you.
Yeah, that's
thank you. Thank you.
Our whole goal is to keep putting people on, because you said you out in Cali, right? Okay, yeah. We out in New York. How else would someone know from Cali, from New York, if we don't have platforms like this to help expand everyone's brand and get more energy from the universe?
Yeah. That's what's needed. We need more interviews like what y'all are doing here, in order for us to even know that people are out there. They just don't know. Like they don't know. Like I know y'all are doing y'all thing. What I mean? Y'all are really getting out, and people are noticing the platform. So that's a beautiful thing. So with y'all reaching out and giving us opportunity to get on your platform, we appreciate it. And as we grow, You know, we want to continue to grow with you. You know what it reminds me of. I've seen Billie Eilish. I don't know why this comes to mind,
Billie
but
Eilish.
Billie Eilish would go to a particular interview place, and she goes there every year.
Mm.
And every year she would come back and she'll be like, um, 5 million Instagram followers. Next year, I have 15 million Instagram followers. Next year, I got 30 million Instagram. And she's giving an update on her life. You know what I mean? So what's interesting about that platform, because I think they do that for a bunch of artists, is I could see that with
Yeah.
you know, I could see next year coming back and being like, all right, this is how much we've grown. This is how much we got done from the last conversation.
Facts.
You know, this is some of the struggles that we're going through. And, that thing can just continue to be continued in our collaboration. That's something that we're excited.
That's a fact.
Definitely like that. It's definitely been dope, bro. We gonna definitely stay tapped in with everything you got going on.
Like, you want to see some shares, some likes, and all of that.
Yeah.
You're like, who's this? I'm like, yeah, I'm sharing it, you know?
Yeah.
And then what I like to do with the artwork is that, like, when I post the artwork, I, like, have a song in the background. So you got a couple songs on Apple Music and stuff, right? So I got your song playing in the background, and I'm just showing the artwork off. So,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah, that's fire. That's fire. Mm-hmm. And that's what they need to see. They need to see you doing it, because sometimes they don't respect it.
Yeah,
You know, when they just see it, they think that was easy. But when they see you doing it, it ain't no question.
There's no
That right there is real. That ain't AI. So,
facts. You know? Yeah, thank you, though.
Stay blessed, bro.
Yeah,
all
thank
right,
God for Friday. Have a blessed night. Well, it's like 4 o'clock your time. Like about to be
yep,
4:30.
almost 4:30. Yep.
Word.
So,
Almost 8 our time. So
Word.
oh, you said what time?
it's about to be 7:30 our time over here.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
3 hours ahead.
Yeah. All right. All right.
All right.
Well, thank you. Thank
I'm
you
gonna let
for,
you know when I update it and send it up, like set up the interview and stuff and edit it and
And
drop
send you
it.
the finished product so you can share it and stuff.
Drop some reels and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
No doubt, bro.
All right.
Stay blessed.
All right.
You officially blessed. Know what I mean?